Even with the Heat being the higher seed and being favored by 2 in Game 1, the Celtics are the favorites to win the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat and Celtics played 3 times during the regular season, with the Celtics winning 2 of those games. JJ, who has more to prove? Is it Jason Tatum or Jimmy Butler?
Oh, man. Well,
great question.
It's a tough question because I think they're both fantastic players, and in some ways they're similar players, big wings that play both sides of the basketball. You know,
you say that plays both sides?
Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum, yeah.
Jason Tatum plays both?
Oh, yeah, he does.
Oh, I'm just making.
Yeah. Did you watch the Net series at all?
No, yeah, a little bit. I just.
Okay. But for me, it's got to be Tatum. And the only reason I say that is I go back to 2020, and I know the bubble didn't count, according to Pat Beverly. But in that Eastern Conference Finals, Jimmy Butler got past the Boston Celtics, and then went toe-to-toe against LeBron in the finals. And so he has proven he can lead a team to the NBA Finals. Obviously, both of these players are without rings. Jason Tatum, 3 conference finals in 5 years. But again, I think just because of that one series, I got to go with Tatum. But look, do they have to prove anything? I don't know. Like, they're both.
You don't like my question?
No,
did I ask
they're both
it?
awesome.
Did I ask
they're
it
both
okay
awesome.
for you though?
They're both awesome.
The right question. Just
Yeah.
making sure. Okay.
Yeah.
To me, it's Jimmy Butler. And I want to say this because, listen, you got a whole bunch of dudes that get sensitive these days. And I mean, Jimmy Butler is like, people doubting him or whatever. Not me.
When you say sensitive, what do you mean? Like what?
I'm talking about you have players that,
Like who?
they hear what's like a Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Like a Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Like, where you think people are doubting you. No,
Okay.
Jimmy Butler's a star in this league. Jimmy Butler's a rough rider. We know what Jimmy Butler brings to the table. I said it before and I'll say it again. The Philadelphia 76ers should have never lost Jimmy Butler, especially, first of all, because he could play it. Secondly, because of how tight he and Embiid were. When you got a brotherhood like that and they're high-end producers, you don't separate that. If you got to overpay a little bit, you overpay. You do what you got to do. You should have never let them go. You should let you go either, okay? Here's where I'm at with this, though. Jimmy Butler, 32. Jason Tatum's about 8 years younger.
Right.
And so when I look at Jason Tatum, you already been to like 3 or 4 conference finals, and you're 24 years old. You got time on your side. Time running out on Jimmy Butler. You don't get this many opportunities. You got to the finals, you showed you could lead your team, and you balled out in the NBA Finals, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. He doesn't shrink beneath the moment. The lights get brighter, Jimmy Butler gets brighter. Okay, we know that about him. But in the same breath, you also got to look at that dust on that birth certificate. You ain't getting younger, you're getting older. And the opportunities that are going to be there for you may be sparse to say the least. And so I'm looking at it from the standpoint that Jason Tatum ain't got nothing but time on his side. Not only are you young, you got another young stud with you in Jaylen Brown and a young coach. Not to say that Jimmy Butler doesn't have that in Eric Spoelstra, but the point that I'm making is the opportunities are not going to be there as a plenty for Jimmy Butler as they are for Jason Tatum. And that's why I'm where I'm at with that.
No comment. I agree with everything you said. I mean, for me,
yeah, that is a comment.
I mean,
you agree with it. You agree with it. All right.
But for the most part,
you're co-signing him.
Yeah. But for the most part, I mean, you could, like you said, you made 2 valid points. I mean, the youth of Jason Tatum and the getting out the mud, as you type of quote with Jimmy Butler. So I mean, it's a toss-up for me.
Yeah. And I also look at it from this perspective as well. You're Miami, you're the #1 seed. You got home court advantage. The road to the finals got to come through your house. What you going to do to protect it? All of these things matter.
But we just saw the sportsbook graphic up there.
I really don't give a damn about the
Caesars.
sportsbook. I never have.
Yeah.
And I talked about this.
I like
opening
the
hour.
Caesars.
I talked about this in the opening hour, though, Stephen A. And I think most people in the NBA world right now are picking the Celtics.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I think Caesars and Vegas clearly picking the Celtics.
But it's tight.
Yeah. So
It's tight. Well,
it's
Jimmy
very
Butler can
tight.
swing the balance.
Yeah.
He can swing the balance.
So can Jason Tatum.
All right.
So who's got more pressure now?
And I think it's Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's clearly
because of his birth
pressure.
certificate.
Well, they're the #1 seed. He's already proven that he can lead a team when he did it by taking Miami to the finals, even though you don't count the bubble, and I understand that. The bottom line is this ain't the bubble now. What you gonna do now? Because Jason Tatum's been knocking on the door for a few years, even though he's considerably younger.
I want to go back to that. And I know you have love for Miami, obviously. You said it earlier because they drafted you, et cetera. But you're the only one on this set that thinks Miami's going to win. Is that picking with your heart or with your head? Tell me why you think Miami has the edge.
I'll go back to coaching. Coach Spo. They're going to be the most prepared team. And that's not to discredit Udoka on the other end. I just know Spo. I just know Spo. They're not going to play any games with this. They've had a little taste of it in the bubble, and they want more. You know, and I don't think they're going to come up short this year.
I will say this. I'm worried about Boston when it comes to Robert Williams. I think you need somebody like him in the series. Now, one would argue you needed him even more because of Milwaukee's size in the last series. But I think with Bam Adebayo and the activity that he brings to the equation, I just think that having Robert Williams in there, I think that helps immensely.
Is Miami deeper?
Deeper than Boston? I would have told you yes before this series against Milwaukee. But watching some cats come off the bench and do some of the things that they've done, I would still say Miami because Oladipo has really shown, he's reminded us of what he's capable of doing. Obviously, I'd say Miami.
You think Duncan Robinson's going to play?
I think he should. I think you find a way. I don't think that I didn't understand what he played 1 minute the first 4 or 5 games of this series against and
then got a 5-minute run.
I was surprised by that. Listen, you ain't paying him $90 million to just sit on the bench. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you expecting him. He's a sniper, and you expect him to be able to at least give you that. So I was surprised. But if you didn't play him against Philadelphia, how the hell you gonna play him against Boston? The way they get out on shooters. How you gonna play him against Boston if you couldn't play him against Philly?
Interesting.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, we'll leave it there. Coming up here on First Take, nobody was able to stop Luka in last night's Game 7 victory. Will it be more of the same against Golden State, or are the Warriors?
Right. He took more shots than anybody on the team. I think that's a first. He took 18 threes. I told him, don't get used to that. But obviously tonight we needed it.
Legs heavy, body heavy, mind heavy, everything was heavy. Now I was just trying to be aggressive. You know, at the end of the day, you know, it's Game 7, and I'm not going to, you know, hold the ball and, you know, not look at the rim. I'd rather, you know, miss a bunch of shots and keep playing and keep coming and keep being aggressive. Keep, you know, looking for my teammate, keep making the right plays, then, you know, go in a passive mode. I can live with that.
JJ, we can't sneeze at the fact that they had to go to Milwaukee, win a Game 6, come back home, win a Game 7. Obviously, tough team. Were you surprised that the Celtics came back in this series?
Not at all. I thought they were the better team, and this series really showed two things. Number one, Milwaukee needed Chris Middleton. Their half-court offense was terrible in this series, and they were going against the best defense, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. 80 points per 100 possessions in the half-court. So much was on Giannis' shoulder in this series, and they couldn't get anyone to have offensive output at an efficient level. Drew Holiday did not have a good series. This was all on Giannis' shoulder. They needed Middleton. The second thing is Milwaukee's defense. I don't understand the strategy of allowing Grant Williams, a 41% shooter in the regular season, a 41% shooter from three in the playoffs, to have 17 standstill looks. I'm not including the 18th one because it was a bad catch and he threw it up at the end of the shot clock. 17 line you up, practice shots, 9 feet away, average distance closest defender when he caught the ball. That is ridiculous.
I understand why.
Why?
Because they were still trying to recover from what Jason Tatum did to them in Game 6.
They didn't even close out, though.
I'm saying that's what the hell happened. You had Budenholzer so petrified that Jason Tatum get going that he sat up there in game plan and said, "Listen, make sure he don't shoot. Damn it, we'll work out everything else. Let's make sure let anybody shoot but him." And they was scared. He scared the living hell out of them because of what he did in Game 6 in Milwaukee, and they were punch drunk from it, and they didn't recover. We've seen it a lot.
They even put 2 on the ball with Petrick. If you see some of the highlights, they literally putting 2 on the ball with the guy Petrick. If I'm a coach,
Pritchard.
I don't care how you say his name. Pritchard, Richard. I don't care.
I was like, who is that?
Yeah. But they put
Pietrus.
They put the 2 on the ball with him.
Right.
Like, come on, man. What type of defense can sustain that throughout the whole game?
No question.
But this was their defense all year. They're going to give up a ton of three-pointers. I get your point about the overreaction, but Bud has never overreacted in the playoffs. He's said, this is how we're going to guard, and we're going to guard this way, and we're going to do our system over and over again. And we're going to rely on Wes Matthews and Drew Holiday to make it tough on Tatum.
Okay.
And they had some success in this series.
Okay.
Game 5, they had success. Game 1, they had success.
Well, there's a couple of things.
So I don't buy the overreaction. This is just how they
you
guard.
can say you don't have to buy it. I'm
I don't
selling
buy
it,
it.
damn it. That's what
I
I'm
don't-
doing.
I don't
That's
buy
number
it.
one. Number two, they did shoot 4-33 from three-point range. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget the fact that Grayson Allen had no business on the court. He was a disaster in this series. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget the fact that Bobby Portis didn't have a good game yesterday either. They
Who's the
had-
first person you named?
No, Grayson Allen was feeling.
Who?
No, let me finish.
Man, stop. Why are you naming these people on your show? They get no
Because-
play in our
No,
locker room in the NBA.
No, I was pointing out that they didn't produce. They didn't produce.
Duh.
Giannis, but wait a minute. Giannis kept kicking the ball to him. The fact of the matter, they